Welcome to the Rocket Rewind, the show where we get together and talk about things that matter, things that are interesting, and shit that might just blow your mind. Yeah, they're our opinions, and you don't have to like them. We might not like yours either, but feel free to share them in the live chat. This is America, where we have free speech, cancel culture, Karens and Darrens, all working together in such super sweet harmony. Yeah, right. Sometimes the things we talk about might help restore our faith in humanity, but all too often it's going to be stuff that might piss you off like it does us. Make sure you have your grown-up panties on and come join the conversation. Oh yeah, and make sure you subscribe and turn on those notifications. You don't want to miss this weekly dose of provocative discussion. The Rocket Rewind, Sundays at 6 p.m. Central, 7 p.m. Eastern. Let's get into it. Viewer discretion is advised.
What is up, everybody?
What's going on?
Hey.
Happy Sunday. We're all pretty much beat to hell and back this week on the panel here. Steve, of course, is still battling his back and neck injuries that he's been dealing with for a while. And didn't you have to go Friday for traction?
I went all last week.
Yeah. And,
it was all last week.
Yeah, I bet that feels real good afterwards.
It feels good, but afterwards, everything starts settling back down.
It wakes back up.
Yeah. Oh, my God.
So Steve's been battling that. Everybody in my house has been sick. We've been passing illnesses around for like 2 weeks, it seems like. Jamie was involved in a minor accident on his side.
My end, yeah.
On his end. But somebody cut in front of him and cut over too quick and clipped the front end of Jamie's car and basically pitted himself out. And the dude in the truck flipped over upside down, all that good stuff. And
I had to wind up pulling him out of the truck.
You pulled him out?
I pulled the kid. He was a kid. It was a 15-year-old kid.
Yeah.
Pulled the kid out of the truck with no injuries whatsoever on the boy. He was wearing a seatbelt. So kids, seatbelts do save lives. You may not believe it.
That's right.
They do save lives. If he hadn't had a seatbelt, it probably threw him from the truck and killed him.
Seatbelts save lives, but they don't fix stupid.
No, they don't. They do not.
Nope.
And then Megan, practicing her jujitsu or whatever she might have been doing earlier, she pulled a muscle in her neck area, so now she's limited motion with her head over there. So yeah, we're all falling apart. So I hope everybody else's Sunday is going much better.
I'm still sucking air, so that's the good news.
Yeah, that's right. Let me see who we got real quick. I see Stu Dorman was here. He was going to get something to eat. He said he was eating some candy corn and Pepsi. That sounds like one hell of a combination. Slander Valley's got some Taki soda and tacos. Of course, Steve is here. Megan's here. Jamie's here. I'm up in here. There's Jake. What's up, Jake? He calls us the Fantastic Four. Look at that. If you only knew. Southpaw's here. What it do, brother? Good to see you. Welcome to the stream. There's Brooklyn. What's going on, Brooklyn? Yeah, our time changed last night, Brooklyn. I don't know how it affected you over there. I know your time changed on you last week, and ours changed this week. Let's see. Chris Talbert's here. What's up? Good to see you, Chris. Jorge Gaming is here. Good to see you, Jorge. I see Chris Talbert's on Facebook also. Thank you there, brother. Appreciate that. Linda Kay's here. What's up, Linda? Hope you're having a good day. So we got a little bit of a different type story. You know, we talk about law enforcement a lot on this show because that's in the news all the time. But I guess it's not that far off if you think about it, because we talk about people that fucked up and how the system fails sometimes, and this is another one of those instances where I believe the system failed and a lot of folks failed in the process. Sykes is here. What's up? Commenting live from the Cheesecake Factory. Oh my God, dude. Cheesecake Factory has some good cheesecake. Lord have mercy. It's $9 a slice, but it's good. Or at least here. It's probably more expensive up there where you're at. There's Chris. What's up, Chris? Crash Craft Gaming. That's a tongue twister right there. Good to see you there, brother. But there is another story in the news that just popped up that I didn't include it in the title because, I'm limited on space. But to kind of give you an idea of how there's two sides to every story, right? I'm going to show you a clip, and we're probably going to get copyright claim, but there's no ad revenue on our video anyway, so who gives a fuck? But this comes from THV11. It's a CBS affiliate, so that means, when you replay their stuff, they like to take your ad revenue. Appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, who cares about fair use? I could fight it, but it's sometimes not worth it. But anyway, so there's this story that went kind of viral. Carl, what's going on, man?
Long time,
man.
Lord have mercy. We thought you'd done flew the coop and everything. We didn't know where you was at. Hope you're doing good there, brother. So here is the viral video. We're going to look at some of it, and I want to show this news clip because I want you to see how the media first put this story out there, right? Because news media has this habit of wanting to be the first ones to break stories, and so sometimes they break information that hasn't been verified, or they only have one side of the story or something like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so they always put this caveat at the end. We've reached out to the sheriff's department or police department or whatever for comment. We haven't heard back. Well, if that's to cover their ass on, I'm telling you this story and I don't even know if it's true, but
it's probably misinformation.
Yeah, police department hadn't told me nothing, so we're good. But anyway, so this is a story. So basically, what happens in Hot Springs, Arkansas, Halloween night? These girls are walking along, teenage girls walking along. One of them throws a can, and I believe the news media refers to it as a soda can. Now, when you see it, you'll probably be like me. It's clearly an energy drink can, is what it looks like to me. But she throws the can, cop goes to stop. She sees the cop. She runs back out in the road, gets the can, comes back. He confronts him, and then shit just goes sideways. So let's look at the way the news media portrayed it first. And then we'll circle back to the actual body cam footage that was released by Hot Springs Police Department to be like, no, it's not quite how it happened.
Between 4 teenage girls and Hot Springs police on Halloween night has circulated as a dramatic viral video. THV11's Rebecca Brown hears from both the department and the angry parents involved.
She has never even had to defend herself, but to have to for the first time against law enforcement?
Okay. I have a comment to make here. If you ever know you're going to end up on the news, don't wear your work clothes and your name on the news.
Mm-hmm.
That's just a bad habit to get into. Because
hide patches, something with tape, if you don't have no choice.
Yeah, exactly. What's up, Taylor? Good to see you, brother. Well, because, and here's why. Not saying that these folks are doing anything wrong, but let's say that the place this guy works don't like the fact that he went on the news with their clothes on. Mm-hmm. Or maybe they don't like the context of something. Places are firing people now for things that they do outside of work.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if it can reflect badly on their company.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, I mean, all three of these have got some kind of work clothes on, something work related. All three of them. And I just wouldn't do that. Now, I mean, I got my Rocket City News Now shirt on, but that's different.
I don't know. Your boss may not like you wearing your shirt.
I got an asshole. I got an asshole for a boss. I do. I definitely do. All right. So let's go ahead and listen to the rest of this.
That is scary for anyone, especially a child.
Sequenta Dendy says she couldn't believe her eyes as she watched Hot Springs police officers arrest her daughter and her friends on Halloween night.
To my knowledge, one of the kids threw down a soda can.
I really
on
like
the
her
ground.
grill.
And the police officers,
I know she got it going on.
I guess they were following the children, and they walked up to the kids and demanded that somebody pick the can up. My daughter said, I don't know who threw the can there, and that she didn't throw the can. And so,
What
to my
in the
knowledge,
hell?
he
Holy
grabbed her
shit.
by her neck and tried to force her to pick up the can.
Dendy says in the
This
video
video
you
was
can hear
recorded
the
by a
sirens and the
bystander
voices
or
of
one of the other
innocent teens
girls.
terrified for their life. But according to Hot Springs Police Department in a statement, the video is not an accurate and total accounting of the events that occurred during that incident.
What up,
But for
Dylan and
Dendy, hearing
ATL
the cry of her
Transparency? What's
daughter's
going on?
voice is a sound that will forever leave pain in her heart.
Whose child is next? Whose child is next? What is the next step? How far would they have gone if other people wouldn't have stepped in to help?
There were 4 girls in total in the video. 3 of them are Kimberly Lambert's daughters. She says their instincts kicked in and they just wanted to help out their friend.
So now this is like I said, this is either from video from one of the girls or a bystander. I think it's from one of the other girls. But now, regardless of what happens, right? Will you ever be okay putting your hands on a police officer?
No.
Absolutely not.
You're never going to win that argument in court. It does not matter. I mean, I get it. Sometimes they do shit they shouldn't do. But when we watch the body cam footage here, you're going to see that this story is a slight bit different than what the parents are portraying it to be also.
Says their instincts kicked in and they just wanted to help out their friend.
That was pretty much the only thing they was worried about was their friend.
Now, you notice that they were on top of that cop at one point, right? Now, this was after he had tackled the girl. Now, do I think that a male should ever roughhouse a female quite like that? No, I don't. However, some of this confrontation was because the girls got physical first. And at this point, it becomes assault on police officers.
They really wasn't concerned about themselves in no type of way. It was basically their friend. They wanted to save her.
Lambert says as each girl was faced on the ground, one of her daughters started to have an asthma attack.
I don't feel like nobody's child deserved to go through something like that. No one's child. I don't care what color you are. It's not about race. It's not about none of that. It's all about the actions that took place in that situation.
The Hot Springs Police Department says the use of force by officers will go through full internal review. In Hot Springs, Rebecca Brown.
All right. So, like I said, that came from THV 11, and that is the news media's account of what happened, right? So, Hot Springs, I accidentally closed it. Hot Springs released. Come on. Here we go. So here's where they put out the video themselves of the dash cam and body cam footage. Now, it's long. We're not going to watch the whole thing, of course, but let's just watch the initial confrontation. There's no audio at first with body cam footage for the first 30 seconds. But he's riding along, and apparently he sees one of these girls throw a can out. Now, that part's not captured on video because he's in the car. But there she is. She ran out there to get it. He's calling her back over, and they're continuing to walk away.
Blurred out because it's juveniles.
I threw a can! What are you talking about?
Listen to me. The next time I see you throw trash, you're going to go to jail. You're going to go to jail.
I'm sorry.
Hey, you get out of my face. Thank you.
Let her go. What the fuck is up with you?
12, I need a couple other units in the 200 block of park. I don't give a shit if you're a minor. Hey, tell her to come down to the police department and see me. My name's Lieutenant May. Hey, I don't care if you're mad. Tell her to come see me. My name's Lieutenant May.
All right, you see where she threw the can right there?
Yep.
So everybody involved in this situation has done something wrong. All right. I hate to see litter, first off. All right. So I have no issue with the cop stopping, and his intention, according to his report, of course, was to have her pick it up. Well, when he started chastising her about throwing litter out, they immediately start with the cuss words and, leave us alone. It was just a can. Right. So they started escalating things. He unfortunately didn't keep his cool either. Right.
Mm-hmm.
He starts losing his shit. But when she threw that can, technically, that is a felony.
Mm-hmm.
Assault on an officer, right?
When you throw something at a police officer. So, I mean, I get it. These are teenage girls, but one of them just committed a crime by throwing something at a police officer. So do I think that he picked the wrong battle? I think had he handled it a little differently at first, if he said, "Hey, appreciate you picking that up. Thank you. Please don't litter. Littering's a crime. If I say you do it again, you're going to get in trouble." Nothing wrong with that.
Mm-hmm.
But when he moved that one girl, because she walked up on him. She got up kind of in between him and the other girl, which is also not a good idea.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think he really should have touched her. I think he just should have stepped back at that point. So both sides of this are escalating it at this point. Now, the original story makes it sound like police just jumped on these girls for no reason. Well, now a true crime has been committed. Additional officers are coming, and he is planning on making an arrest on this. So when he tells these girls a few times in here that they're detained, they're not cooperating. You cannot win this argument on the side of the street, right? That's right, Southpaw. Teach them to use a trash can. I mean, I get that littering is a bad thing. I'm against that. I think that he probably should have stopped and said something to him. I think he probably shouldn't have been such a dick about it at first, because the way you treat people sometimes is the way you're going to get treated back. I think he could have probably talked to him a little bit better, but these girls also had zero respect for any authority. You could tell that in their tone, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Gladen Park.
Do not touch me. I'm calling my mother. Come here. No, if you touch me, I swear to
I'm not. Do I look like I'm touching you?
Yes, because you just fucking pushed me the fucking sidewalk.
I wasn't talking to you.
It don't fucking matter.
Hey, call your mom so I can find out where you live.
No.
Call your mom so I can find out where you live. Call your mom. Call your mama so I can find. Hey, I don't care. I don't care.
I threw a can in your.
And then threw it at me. So that's a different story. Hey, call your mom.
Like, what are you doing?
Call your mom. I'm not going to touch you. Call your. Okay. Call your mom.
Okay, you're fucking weird.
Call your mom. Hey, call your. I'm super.
All right. If my kids ever talk to an adult like this, cop or not,
that belt comes off, right?
Yeah.
Before or after they get their mouth washed out.
Right. So
that's right, Kenny. I agree with that 100%.
Yep, I'm with you on that too, Kenny.
Yep.
You see, as the adult in the situation, and the authority holder, and the law enforcement officer, and the grown ass man with a gun and the ability to take somebody's freedom away, you've got to have a level head.
Especially when that guy says, "I don't care if you're a minor."
Yeah.
Like, who says that?
People are going to push your buttons.
I tell you what, that job of being a police officer is a great job to have your buttons pushed, because there's a lot of people that are going to push them.
Yeah.
It basically just depends on how you react and how you handle the situation.
Right.
And this guy, I think he does need a little bit of training in that.
Well,
as far as people skills and, public communication, stuff like that.
Linda, exactly, Linda. Mine too. Linda said her teeth would be on the ground if she talked like that. Exactly. So when, I spent 20 years catching shoplifters, and they'll push your buttons too, right? And I had days where I was better at keeping my composure than other days.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody's going to be perfect every day, right? But I do think that had he talked to them a little nicer? Like, hey, you know, why'd you throw that can out? You know, I mean, come at them as kind of calm and nonchalant about it. We're talking about teenagers in 2023 that don't give a fuck about nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
That's the way our world is now. You know, they look at it as, I mean, she even starts off, hey, it was a can. I just threw a can. Okay, but that can doesn't biodegrade, right? And that can is going to get kicked up and down the road by every car that comes by. And it looks bad. It looks tacky. If everybody that walked past right there threw a can out, could you imagine the pile of shit that's going to be sitting there?
Mm-hmm.
At some point, we each as individuals have to care about where we live and what it looks like.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm not a tree-hugging environmentalist, don't get me wrong. But we all still have a responsibility to at least pick up after ourselves, try to leave things a little better than we found them. You know, I mean, that's just common sense. So I don't think anybody handled this right. I don't think any of them did. I don't think the girls showed enough respect to an adult. I don't think the girl that threw the can showed enough respect for her community and the way it looks. And I don't think the officer showed enough dignity and training when he interacted with these girls.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you can't talk to teenage girls the same way you can talk to a grown man.
Nope.
It doesn't look good. It doesn't sound good. And it usually doesn't work well, you know? But exactly, Kyle, you get what you give most of the time. And that's the thing. If you treat somebody like an ass, they're going to treat you like an ass.
Mm-hmm.
It's just going to happen. But let's look a little further into this on when it actually gets physical. So at this point, she's already thrown this can at him now. A crime's been committed. He's got other officers coming, and he is planning on arresting this girl. The others get arrested because they interfere and start putting their hands on these officers also, which also becomes an assault charge.
Extra. Hey, call your mom. You can call your mom too. 200 block. Go ahead and if you need equipment, get here. Go ahead and get here.
Mama!
If juveniles, the parents are on the way.
No, ain't nobody on the way because I don't.
No, I need to talk to him. I want to talk to him. For throwing this at a cop.
Nigga, he didn't even touch it.
Okay, so yeah, throwing it at a cop.
Because what are you exactly?
And see, then that's another thing too, throwing that word around like it's okay to use. I mean, I get it that it's, you know, it's street slang and everything, but that doesn't sound good.
No.
That doesn't
sound respectful.
There's zero respect in that. And you know that when you use it. You know what I'm saying? No matter what color you are, you know using that word is disrespectful.
Hey, it's all on camera. Y'all are making a real. Hey, don't get out of my face. Get out of my face. Listen to me. Listen. Y'all chill out. You're gonna get. Hey, listen. Hey, because you can't. Because you're impeding my investigation. That's why. That's why. Listen. Get back. Get back. Get back. Get back. Step it up. Hey, listen.
No assault.
Back the fuck off of me. Get the fuck back. Get the fuck back.
All right, so now she throws her purse off like she's ready to get in a fist fight with the police officer.
She's going to jail.
Like an 8th grader's ready to fight in school.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah, he's right.
Yeah.
There was no de-escalation here at all. It all just went
now
0 to 100.
For a little bit there, he was kind of talking to him a lot more calm.
Yeah, he was.
In this segment. He was talking to him a little bit more calm. But it should have started out that calm. And, you know, anybody in a situation like his, this can't be the first group of teenage females he's interacted with. You have to talk to them and approach them differently than you would a grown man that just robbed a liquor store. These are teenage girls that one of them threw a can on the ground. Not a big major ordeal. But if you feel like you want to address it as a police officer, at least do it in a kinder, gentler way, right? When I went to stop a shoplifter that was a teenage female, I handled that way differently than I would have a grown man.
Mm-hmm.
Not to say that, you know, I think girls are breakable or, you know, any sexist bullshit or anything like that, but it's the right thing to do as a human being, to approach people in a polite way when you can. Now, shoplifters I caught were committing a crime. They stole shit. I needed to get it back. They were going to go to jail, but we didn't have to have that conversation on the sales floor and escalate shit. That conversation happened after I got him back to the office. Mm-hmm. There's a time and manner you handle things, and this just was handled wrong from the get-go. But nobody is going to win by bowing up and deciding they're going to fight a police officer. You're never going to win that in court.
Nope.
You're just digging your own hole.
No,
Get back. 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 Get back.
No, you're doing too much. Stop touching me.
Now that's
what
where
happened here? Tackler?
That's the one. That's where he went ahead and tackled that one girl, but that was the one that kept getting in his face and kept pushing him. So he was going to arrest him anyway. I don't think he needed to grab her like that. But I can also tell you this: when somebody's wearing a coat like that, if he'd have just tried to grab her collar, she'd have come out of that coat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So you do have to kind of get a grip around some body part, but the neck is not the best choice, in my opinion. So, I mean, everybody went wrong here.
Yeah,
everybody
spiraled way out of control quickly.
Everybody went all wrong, but you see how it kind of was portrayed slightly differently in the original news report, in that, oh, well, you know, she threw a can down and, you know, they tackled this girl and, you know, blah, blah, blah. And they showed these little clips they showed the physical parts of the clips. They didn't show anything the girls were doing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they both escalated this situation, the girls and the cop. So everybody fails in this interaction, in my opinion. But I think that the bulk of the responsibility in a situation like this rests with the police officer. He's supposed to be the trained professional. And I think there were multiple points during this whole interaction where some de-escalation would have worked. And especially from the very beginning. Because he set the tone from the beginning. Without realizing what he was doing, he set the tone from the beginning.
Yeah.
By being an asshole.
The condescending asshole, I'm superior tone.
Right. And I really think that it would have went differently had he handled it a little bit better at the beginning. Now, would the girl still maybe have showed their ass? Maybe. But this conversation and this discussion would be slightly different right now. We wouldn't have as many fingers to point at him. You know it? Yep, I'm with you on that, Carl.
Yeah.
Our society it's all about us, man. It's all about me. You know,
mine.
Yep, nobody ever thinks about other people. And it's I unfortunately don't know that it's ever going to get any better. You know? I mean, it just seems to only be getting worse. There was another thing I saw popped up on my news feed today that I'm waiting on a little more info to come out on, but this dude went on some kind of damn rampage, grabbed somebody's baby.
Yeah.
Did I post that in there? Yeah.
Yeah, you posted in our chat.
Yeah, there's not really a whole lot of information on it, but basically this dude, he had already accosted some elderly lady and broke both of her arms. And then he's running from that scene and coming across a crosswalk and snatches a baby out of somebody's arms, and the husband jumps on him. And then he does something else and somebody jumps on him. It's It's crazy. But anyway, I want to talk about a nurse in your neck of the woods there, Steve.
Uh-oh.
In my neck of the woods, huh?
Well,
Like, hey, girl.
not directly in your neck of the woods, but in Pennsylvania.
Okay.
Let me pull this up.
Steve's like, hey, girl.
He's like,
Yeah,
how you doing?
Don't get excited.
No.
Yeah, don't get excited. This is a booking photo, homie.
Wow. No, wait a minute. She was my nurse. No, I'm kidding.
You might want to go to a different doctor and have some more tests.
That would have been
man.
ironic had she been.
Yes, Lord. So she's a registered nurse in Pennsylvania, and she's facing some charges that she administered lethal or potentially lethal doses of insulin to numerous patients.
Wow.
Including a 104-year-old at health facilities over the past 3 years. 3 years. 3 years it's been going on.
What an evil person.
Right. She could have been stopped way earlier.
Oh, yeah.
We're talking about 3 years this happened.
Butler
So
County,
her name is Heather Presty. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right. She's 41 years old. She's been accused in May of killing 2 nursing home patients and injuring a third. She was arraigned Thursday on the additional counts, including 2 new homicide charges, and waived the preliminary hearing. She's being held without bail at the Butler County, Pennsylvania jail. Her defense attorney, James DePascal, said the new charges were not unexpected and that they are working to avoid a potential death penalty. So the latest charges allege mistreatment. Get this shit. Let me blow this up for you. Oh, come on here. 19 additional patients at 5 care facilities since 2020, along with 2 counts of first-degree murder. She was also charged Thursday with 17 counts of attempted murder and 19 counts of neglect of a care-dependent person. She's a resident of Natrona Heights, Pennsylvania, and she allegedly gave excessive amounts of insulin to patients, some diabetic and some not. She typically administered the insulin during overnight shifts when staffing was low and the emergencies would not prompt immediate hospitalization. 17 patients she cared for, ranging in age from 43 to 104, have died.
Holy cow. 17. Yeah. So I hope that they charge her with 17 counts of murder.
Well, the problem so here's what they do with murder cases, because I've often kind of wondered this too. It's like, when somebody kills 2 or 3 people, sometimes they only try them for the one murder.
Yeah.
Sometimes they do that because the evidence is stronger on this one case. Some kind of physical evidence or something like that is stronger on the one part. So they go for that. But if they try them all at the same time, if they try you for 3 counts of murder at one time, and there's some kind of technicality or some bullshit or whatever, and you're found not guilty, they can't try you again. Double jeopardy comes in, right? If you're found not guilty. But if they only try you for one at a time, if something goes wrong with that first trial, they got 2 more they might can bring later. That's why they separate them a lot of times. I often wondered that. So when I was working for an attorney a long time ago, I asked that question. I'm like, why would you? I mean, if you got all this evidence that somebody killed 3 different people, why wouldn't you just try them for it? And that was the reason. You might miss the mark somewhere on that one, and you got 2 in the hole for later. Speaking of Double Jeopardy, did you ever see that movie Double Jeopardy?
No.
So I think it's got Charlize Theron in it, if I remember right. Anyway, good movie. You should look it up and try to watch it. It's an older movie, but the basic premise of it is her husband framed her for his murder, and so he could disappear. He faked his own death, faked his own murder, and had it pinned on her. And she was Ashley Judd. That's it. It's got Ashley Judd in it.
Okay.
Southpaw's seen it. But anyway, so she's found guilty of his murder, even though they never found his body. Or I don't remember if
wait, was that the one where he ends up getting revenge on her?
No. She gets revenge on him because she gets found guilty of his murder, and she serves her prison sentence.
Okay.
Like 10 or 15 years or some shit, right? She gets out. She knew she hadn't ever killed him. So she tracks his ass. She figures out he's still alive and faked his death. So she tracks him down and she kills his ass.
That's right. I remember this.
They can't try her for it. They can't try her for it because she's already been convicted of killing him. Double jeopardy. She's already served her time for killing him. She just went to prison before she killed him. That's all.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a good movie. You should watch it.
Yeah, I have seen that. Yeah. Good flick. It is a good flick.
Well, that's one that I have on my list to rewatch. I've been going through this. I don't know if I've got some kind of case of nostalgia. Yeah, and I love Tommy Lee Jones, Kyle. I love Tommy Lee Jones. Man. I don't know what it is. Tommy Lee Jones he's one of my heroes.
He's a good dude.
Yeah, I like most of what he's in.
That was the one how they arranged to meet in the cemetery, and he ends up knocking her out, and he puts her in the casket of a dead woman in a mausoleum. And she happened to have a gun on her side, and she had to shoot the hinges off the casket in order to get out of there. If I'm not mistaken, if that's the one I'm thinking of. Yeah.
So anyway, back to this Presley woman here. So 17 patients died. Her nursing license was suspended earlier this year. Well, thank fuck. It's about time. So the alleged crimes happened while she worked as a registered nurse at 5 different facilities. So there's 5 facilities here that had an opportunity to stop this woman. Concordia at Rebecca Residence is one of them. Bel Air Healthcare and Rehabilitation, which is also known as Guardian Elder Care. Quality Life Services, Chicora. Premier Armstrong Rehabilitation and Nursing Center, and Sunnyview Rehabilitation and Nursing Center. According to court documents, Presley sent her mother numerous texts between April 2022 and May of this year in which she discussed her unhappiness with various patients and colleagues and spoke about potentially harming them. She also voiced similar complaints about people she encountered at restaurants and other places outside of healthcare facilities. So she had some mental issues going on here, right? And her mom really should have tried to get her help, and she may have. You can't force somebody to get help until they've done something. So it said that she had a history of being disciplined for abusive behavior towards patients and or staff at each facility, resulting in her resigning or being terminated. Now, this is a part that bothers me. Abusive behavior towards patients. If you're in a nursing home work environment and you have been abusive towards the patients, her license should have been suspended a long ass time ago.
Damn right.
Instead of giving her the option to resign and then letting it become somebody else's problem, these places allowed her to kill other people by not stopping her sooner. She should have been reported to the medical board. Something should have happened sooner here. Brooklyn wants her to care for the nasty neighbor that lives by them that gives them problems all the time. Well, that's the thing, Southpaw. See, that's my thoughts exactly. Is one of these places should have had some balls and been like, we have a responsibility to future patients to stop this woman. If she's abusive, she does not belong here. That's kind of like having somebody that has daycare, for example. Let's say you got a daycare and you've got somebody that works there that slapped around one of the kids. You going to let them resign so they can go somewhere else?
Whatever happened to background checks?
Or are you going to call the cops? You're going to let criminal charges. You've got to stop these people. Mm-hmm. If they've done it at one place, they're going to do it somewhere else.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And these places allowed her to keep doing it. So it says that she held a number of jobs at nursing homes and facilities in Western Pennsylvania beginning in 2018 for short periods of time. So she couldn't even maintain a fucking job. She kept getting fired. Now, here's something here. Let me pull this up. So, of course, I knew this was coming, so I dug around. So there is a lawsuit. She killed this woman right here. She poisoned 3 patients with insulin, killing 2 of them. Wrongful death lawsuit names her in a possible third case, that of Marianne Bauer on the left. So her family, this lady here, this Marianne Bauer, she died in a nursing home because she was given lethal doses of insulin. Her family filed a lawsuit. Marianne Bauer was 68. They filed a wrongful death lawsuit this week alleging that Heather Presty gave her an overdose of insulin, causing her death on September the 28th, 2021. The lawsuit alleges administrators at Bel Air Healthcare and Rehabilitation Center, where she worked, knew about her, quote, alarming history of resident abuse at her earlier jobs, where she exhibited abusive tendencies and behavior towards residents and staff.
Why would they hire her then?
That's what I'm saying. I mean,
whatever happened to background checks? I mean, these people don't check in on the people they bring in to take care of their patients.
Apparently
this
not.
is absolutely ludicrous.
It is. And here's the thing, right? This is not just a nurse's aide or somebody with a certificate, that went through a simpler course or a lower course load and can do minor things in there. She is a registered nurse. Well,
yeah.
But she went through all that schooling and all that training and could work in hospitals and in surgery rooms and, all this stuff. This is not somebody that's just trying a career out for a little bit,
I want to know what her obsession was with killing these people. I mean, was it to get off on it or to see what she could get away with? Or...
She said, well, at one point, I think it's in this article here, supposedly she claims it was to help with their suffering and a poor quality of life.
Oh my God.
They weren't even
That's
suffering.
not her decision.
She's putting them out of their misery.
Was she another Jack of Orkin? Holy shit.
Well, she did claim that one of them asked her to do it.
Oh, I don't believe that.
But his family says she's full of shit.
Yeah, bullshit.
Keegan and Dustin K, what's up? Welcome to the stream, y'all. So here's where the suit digs into the facilities themselves. The suit alleges that the administration at Bel Air Healthcare became aware of these rumors, yet failed to take appropriate action in investigating Presty, and they even disciplined and threatened to fire the nurses who discussed her care.
Wow.
So if anybody else said anything, they threatened to fire them.
Suppression.
Yep, they were covering shit up.
Wow. Talk about corruption at the highest level.
Well, and you know why they covered it up, right?
Because they didn't want the publicity.
If she mistreated somebody at their facility, yeah, exactly, the publicity, but also the potential lawsuit,
right,
from any family members. To allow her behavior with patients to go unchecked despite multiple concerns from staff is unconscionable. No one who trusts a facility with their loved one's care should ever have to experience what Marianne Bauer's family is going through. That was the family's attorney. And so in a statement, what was that?
Oh, I was reading and I said, there you go.
Yeah, in a statement, Guardian Healthcare and Bel Air has hiring policies designated to vet the qualifications and background of potential employees. They said they take their responsibility seriously not to employ anyone who has the potential to intentionally harm one of their residents. Well, obviously not. Let me see what exactly their statement says, though. Is there like? Hold on, I don't want to play this. They were
can't see
originally.
it if you're showing it.
Yeah, I'm just trying to see if I can pull it up. There's a statement. I want to see if it's an actual. Okay, here we go. Yeah, let's pull this up. Okay. Oh, hey, look at that. Red Lobster,
Ooh.
Ultimate Endless Shrimp. Red Lobster, if you want to sponsor the show, you can reach out to us by email.
We'll take
But
all the shrimp we can get.
not the one here in Huntsville, because I've heard really horrible things about that one.
Oh,
but I'll still come eat a free meal if you want to prove me wrong. So here is the statement that they gave to the news media. Let me see if I can zoom this in a little bit. Everyone at Guardian Healthcare, as well as the management and staff at Bel Air Healthcare and Rehabilitation Center, are devastated and disheartened that someone entrusted to care for our patients could do something like this. Our deepest sympathies go out to the families that have been impacted by Heather Presley's actions and behavior, especially Miss Bauer's family. While we cannot comment exclusively about Miss Bauer's residency at Bel Air due to privacy laws and pending litigation, our top priority is to always ensure the safety and well-being of our residents and to employ qualified, caring staff to deliver the care our residents deserve. Bel Air has hiring policies and procedures in place that are designed to vet the qualifications and background of potential employees. Management at Bel Air or any Guardian site takes seriously their responsibility not to employ an individual who has the potential to intentionally harm one of our residents.
But they knew.
The problem with that was that she'd been let go from other places for that.
They knew. Like, how could you, like, I mean, come on. I have no words to this. Like, this is a no-brainer.
Well, but it all comes back to they were covering their own asses. All these places that she did this at, if they had brought it up or reported it, then it would have shown a light on their facility and the fact that she hurt someone at their facility, which would make them look bad. They wouldn't get new business, right, if they look bad. And then, two, if they admit something like that, then there's proof out there for a lawsuit from the family.
Well, here's what you do, okay? The cat's out of the bag. Everybody knows that they covered their tracks at this point. Okay, if I was a family member of any one of those 17 individuals who lost their lives due to the care of this individual, if you even want to call it care, I would sue the living hell out of that place and put them out of business. That's what I would do.
Yeah, and that's probably what's coming. And that's what's, you know. Oh, yeah, that I did see that in one of the stories, too. Kyle said later they said an internal investigation concluded that there was, quote, no identifiable evidence uncovered to support the concerns of Presley's co-workers.
They've got to have security footage. They've got to.
Well, I mean,
they have to. My grandmother was in the nursing home for 10 years, and they didn't treat her very well, and there's security cam footage.
Well,
I mean,
now I had an uncle who was in a car wreck when he was like early 20s, and he's been in a care facility since he was in his 20s. It didn't kill him, but he couldn't talk, couldn't walk. You know. Basically lived for 20 some odd years, I guess.
Oh yeah,
longer.
They keep records. They keep records of medication, Chris. Sorry,
he was in a care facility and he was mistreated multiple times. And my mom and her sisters had trouble getting the place to do anything about it because they kept wanting to deny that anything had happened. But it's things like bed sores and, family member would go visit and they hadn't changed his diaper in a while. And then, just things like that. So, I mean, very rarely do I hear any positive long-term care stories.
Mhm.
Have you noticed that?
Yeah.
It's tough. Well, my grandmother was treated fairly after the last incident. She ended up with COVID the first time, and she ended up vomiting on herself and got very sick and couldn't control things. And they left my grandmother's lay like that for 3 days. They didn't clean up after her. They didn't try and help her. They gave her food, and they just kept stacking the food on top of the food. She couldn't even feed herself. So after my aunt got a hold of them and rattled their cage and threatened a lawsuit, they straightened up and flew right, and they treated her right up until she died on September 11th of this year. So, I mean, it was horrible. If I was out in California, there's no way I would have let them get away with that. I would have turned that place upside down. I would have just ripped somebody a new ass. I mean, there's no reason for it.
And it's so disturbing because and I think it comes back to money. These places only worry about the money they can get.
Yep.
And
it's a quick butt. It's easy money for them.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know, man. I worry about, am I ever going to end up in a long-term care facility? Because I have no good feelings about any of them that I've ever known of, And
I ain't going to one. I'll be in my house. I'll be right here.
Yeah.
Shit, to pick my own self right here, my own house.
Right, that's right.
Yeah, I can do that right here at the house.
I'm going to die right in front of this PC right here.
And that is horrible that your aunt had to go through that bullshit.
My aunt?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. She had to deal with them people and try to get them to do the right thing.
It was and now was that your grandmother?
My mom's mom.
Your mom's mom. So, I mean, walking in and seeing a family member that's been treated like that.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Oh, I would raise hell.
Well, raising hell isn't what I would have done, Megan. I literally would have got physical with these people. And
so
I would
now,
have turned desks upside down.
Yeah.
There's no chance that is even acceptable in anybody's family. Who do they think they are to treat people like that? And then now you got this crazy bitch running around killing 17 people because she wants to see the effects of what an overdose in insulin does to a human being that doesn't need it. Like, come on. So, I mean,
I just wonder, it makes you kind of think, how many others out there like her are there?
Oh, I'm sure there's probably a couple.
More.
And that's scary.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because, like Carl said, she knew, let me see if I can find his comment. She knew how to play the system. She knew the ins and outs, and she knew what they would look for and how death investigations are conducted. Yeah. Most of the time when people are in a nursing home, they're going to call it something simple, heart failure,
right?
Old age, pneumonia, whatever.
That's right. And Kennedy says, well, they get paid to do it too. So,
and I'll tell you, some of these long-term care facilities, man, when you go in there, they get your Social Security money.
Oh yeah, no, they get everything.
Yeah,
so
you can't own anything.
No, they made my grandmother sell her house.
And
they
give
got
them
all the money from the house. They got all the money from everything that she sold, everything that was my grandfather's. I got very little to remember either one of them.
Yeah.
So it's other than a couple pictures and maybe a couple things my grandfather had, and I got his tools. So other than that, I mean, I don't have much else. But they took everything. They literally took everything, and what they couldn't get, they took more over the period of 10 years.
Yeah.
So they make you sign everything away, Social Security, everything goes to them.
So Stacy's cheesecake was $10 a slice. It's $9 here, or it was. My daughter used to work at the one in Bridge Street here in Huntsville. What kind did you get? Inquiring minds want to know, what flavor cheesecake did you get from the Cheesecake Factory?
I hope it was cheesecake.
Well, I'm sure it was cheesecake, but they got a ton of different flavors. I personally like they have a chocolate turtle one. I really liked chocolate turtle flavor.
Chocolate. I've never been to the Cheesecake Factory.
It's way expensive.
All those rich folk.
The Adams peanut butter.
I've been there maybe
that's good too.
Twice in the last however many years I've been alive.
What's up, John Dana? Good to see you, brother. So let's open it up for some discussion then. Either topic or both. Megan, let's start with you. What do you think about these stories we talked about tonight?
Well, it kind of reminds me of when my grandma was alive, and we thankfully had a family friend who was a caregiver, and she did an amazing job with her.
In home?
In home, yeah. We refused to put her in a nursing home. My dad was like, we're not doing it, not putting her in there. And she, before her mind started to go, she actually even said, I do not want to be put in a nursing home. Even if I don't remember any of you, which she didn't until the end. She didn't remember any of us, couldn't remember names, all that. She basically said, I do not want to go in a nursing home. And to this day, I'm so glad that the caregiver who did come to the home was super nice. She made sure that she was clean, made sure that she had her food, took her medicine, all that. So, thank goodness that I didn't go through something like that, but I can't imagine what these families have gone through with that, because, I mean, I know in the article it mentioned, they want to avoid the death penalty. I'm sorry. Sometimes there are certain people who deserve it. I personally feel like it, and I feel like this woman does. Like, that's just me. But I mean, why would I want this person sitting in jail for lifetime?
I don't want my tax dollars going to that either.
No.
Yeah, I'm on the fence with the death penalty some myself, because and the main reason is because there have been people on death row that have been exonerated by new DNA evidence, and they've sat there waiting to be killed for a crime they didn't commit. So I'm on the fence about it, but I'm kind of like you. If you do something to a child or elder abuse like this, then yeah, there's a very special place in hell for you, and we need to send you right on over there.
Express lane.
Yeah.
Very certain cases, I would argue, for death penalty.
Yeah. I think we use it a little too much sometimes. And our system is broken. I mean, I get that there's automatic appeals and things, but there's a lot of people who've been through all these automatic appeals and still got exonerated 20 years later, from death row. Mm-hmm. They should have gotten out way earlier, but didn't. But anyhow, having somebody at home for in-home care like y'all were able to have is the best option if it's available. For a couple of reasons, because you're not going to have 20 different people, right? You're going to have one or two, and you're going to get to know them. They're going to get to know you. You can catch them on their bullshit if there is any. And they know when it's in the house, it's much easier for you to watch them. Right.
And we had cameras too, just in case anything would happen.
But there's a few jobs that I think are true callings that really depend on your heart as a human being. Caregiver, definitely one of them. Anybody that works in a daycare. Because oh my Lord Jesus, my daughter works for a daycare, and I don't know how she does it. Anybody that is in law enforcement, you have got to be in that for the right reason. Anybody that is that teaches, a teacher at school, those things, if you don't have the right heart for it, you can do a lot more harm than good in the long run.
Absolutely.
And none of those jobs am I cut out for. No. And I know it, which is why I ain't doing it. Did you have any thoughts on the teenage girls before we moved on, Megan?
It's sad to see it's sad to see the society, with these kids growing up and thinking they can disrespect adults like that and not being disciplined. I mean, my cousins, for example, growing up, they were not disciplined at all. So they got away with a lot until eventually my aunt kind of stepped in and was like, nope, we're training these girls right, and they're a lot better than they used to be. The only thing I'm glad with that officer is that he didn't go the route of playing the racial card with those girls. Like, he could have said some really bad things back at them when they were saying things at him. And I'm just glad he didn't go that route, because that would have made the situation a lot worse. And I could see some people getting into that kind of thing. So I'm just glad it didn't go that route. But those girls, I mean, the whole situation could have been handled differently, like we said from the get-go, where, you know, if he had been a little more calm, maybe things would have been a little bit easier. But again, there's just a lot of moving parts with that whole, you know, initial start to finish, you know.
Oh yeah. I mean, let's say somebody walks up to you, you know, in the grocery store, and they only say their first 2 words are going to set the tone.
Yep.
They walk up to you and say, "Hey, bitch." Or they walk up to you and say, "Hey, ma'am."
Mm-hmm. Or, "Hey, ladies."
Yeah. Which conversation is going to go better?
Well,
Obviously,
I'm good with either
hey,
one,
ladies.
to be honest with you. I mean, I could get down and dirty just as much as anybody else. I mean, I don't have a problem with it.
But that's what I'm saying. It is that the initial way you speak to someone, and even your body language can come into play, but the initial way you approach someone can set that tone for the whole rest of that interaction.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what happened here. And he should be penalized for that. He should go through some remedial training. He should probably be suspended without pay for a certain amount of time. And he's a lieutenant.
He's a lieutenant.
He should have been demoted.
Yep.
Now, not because I think that he shouldn't have arrested these girls, because I think their behavior warranted an arrest at that point. Because regardless of what he does, what they do still has consequences also.
Mm-hmm.
And I think everybody is responsible for their own consequences. But it is our society. It is the way it is.
Yep.
Jamie, thoughts?
Yeah, I didn't get to see the story about the nurse too much because, baby mama's bringing home a daughter.
Yeah.
So,
well, important things.
Important things.
Man.
Priorities.
That's right.
I will touch a little bit on it right at the end. My grandmother, like Megan's said over there earlier, my grandmother actually, we brought in a daily nurse for her because she was diagnosed with, I think, stage 4 lung cancer several years ago. So, and she didn't want to go into the long-term care facility herself. So, and this is going to creep you out a little bit, but this is the same house that she, had caretaking of right here in this house. But they had her bed and all set up for her. Nurse came in daily, made sure she was being taken care of, everything they had to do for her. And then they even showed my aunts, uncle, and my mother how to supply her with her morphine when she needed it, when she was in pain and obvious pain and all that, and to give her the proper dosage without overdosing on the morphine. And like you said, it's easier to watch an in-home nurse like that versus a facility nurse. Yeah, they got the little teddy bears and cameras you can put in their rooms and all that, but you don't have that same oversight as you would if you were right beside that nurse the entire time.
Well, and I think too, it probably makes the family member a lot more comfortable being in their own house.
Yeah. As your end of life approaches, and all that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I didn't get to see much about that. But I feel, speaking of the death penalty on that, if there's obvious evidence, if it's cut and dry that she killed these folks, there's zero doubt that she done it. One-way track straight to hell.
She's admitted to it.
Okay, yeah, one-way track straight to hell.
She's cooperating with investigators,
so she won't get it now because of that.
I mean, cops can bullshit you and lie to you to get you to confess too. So I mean, I don't know.
Hopefully she's got a good attorney.
Yeah. Going back to the officer, though, in reference to the officer, getting out of the car immediately, his tone of voice set that stage in the direction that meeting was about to go.
Now, there is, that 30 seconds of silence that we don't know what he might have said or what they might have said. So he could have started off a little better, but it didn't seem like they were very far into the conversation at all when the audio does cut on.
It was already starting to escalate by that time.
Yeah, so I'm thinking he probably could have talked a little nicer. Does your daughter know better than to behave like that, though?
Shoot, yeah, you know that. Shoot, yeah.
It might be an ass whipping involved in that. Huh?
Well, her mom is a 911 dispatcher. I'm a former firefighter. You know, some of my best friends were actually law enforcement officers. Yeah. So, yeah, you know, I've raised my kid, and I've tried to raise my stepkids at the time to respect law enforcement. You know, and I said, you know, you may feel like you're in the right. Don't argue with them. Just yes, sir, yes, ma'am. Mm-hmm. Just short, simple, respectful answers. Don't give away any more information you got to give, but make sure you're respectful at all levels, because we can go to a courtroom and argue a lot better than we are on the side of the street right there. Always.
Yep. Well, and you can always dissect things after the fact a lot easier than in the heat of the moment.
Right.
Because it doesn't take very much for you to look more guilty, right? Something as simple as, you know, jerking away from a cop, resisting arrest, new charge, you know.
And they start stacking after that.
Yeah. So you're never going to help yourself with an argument on the side of the road with the cop.
Yeah.
This is usually only going to make it worse. Not to say that they're always right, because there's plenty of times the cops are wrong, but prove that later on. That later on.
That's what the court's for.
Yep. Carl said, especially since she picked the can up. So that's the thing. It could have been a very calm teaching moment.
Yep.
And instead, it turned into a big fucking fiasco online now.
Yep.
That there's going to be a lawsuit filed. No matter what, it's going to cost the taxpayers money. Whether the cop found innocent or guilty of anything, it's still going to cost money for lawyers and all that shit. All that could have been avoided. Steve, what's your thoughts on these two?
Oh, we know what his thoughts are.
Well, let me start off with the girls. That's just a complete lack of respect. It has to do with upbringing. If no discipline was instilled when they grow up, I mean, obviously they're not gonna show respect to anybody on the road, on the street. You know, I mean, it could have. I agree. It could have gone a different way. He could have started off in a completely different tone. But since it went the way it did, he really didn't try de-escalating the way he should have. It could have ended or gone a completely different way. It really should have. But those girls, I mean, they didn't show any respect. And let's say he didn't show any respect. They still could have showed some respect to him, and that could have changed the tone of things too.
Right. Both sides of a situation can affect the continuation of the tone. Yeah.
I've had interactions with police officers in the past where they came off completely escalated, like, and I have, you know, yes sir, no problem, I'll do what I can to help you or whatever it went, and I was the one that de-escalated the situation, and you know it worked out pretty well. But you know, and I had a traffic accident one time where the state trooper came over and tried accusing me of causing the accident, and it really wasn't my fault, even though I was the guy who was behind. That was a different situation though, but she came off and she was completely out of control, and when everything was all said and done and I had de-escalated the situation, that officer actually walked away laughing. So it worked out well. But so I mean, it's all on how you handle the situation, I suppose. As far as this crazy individual that likes to kill people for fun, I guess, while she's at work, I can't say anything good about that. That's something that needs to be prosecuted. She needs to be taken to task. The book needs to be thrown at her, and hopefully she spends the rest of her life in jail for that one. That's 17 murders, as far as I'm concerned. There's no way you're getting out of that. Absolutely not.
And what startles me so bad is this is what we know of.
Yeah.
17 murders in 3 years, but it said she worked at these 5 places for short periods of time.
Yep.
So she wasn't even working like the full 3 years. So she may have done some of this when she's only worked at a place for a month or something.
Right.
Could have been.
You know?
I mean, maybe they found out what was going on. They're like, oh, God, look what she did. Or maybe it was insubordination or anything like that. But still, from what we know, it's 17 murders. So as long as she spends the rest of her life behind bars, I'm okay with that. Or if they push for the death penalty, I'm okay with that too, because I don't want my tax dollars going to that. I don't want that. I don't want my money for supporting somebody that's. I mean, come on. I honestly,
I know.
At least I know that when it comes time for me to go into one of them places, I sure as hell ain't going into one of them places. I'll stand right here and I'll have a nurse come in. I had a buddy of mine who passed away in 2019. He had brain cancer. He was younger than me, and he actually stayed home for his hospice. And he had a nurse come in once a week, and she would check on him, and and it was comfortable for him. It's comfortable for his parents, for his girlfriend at the time and her kids, and just it was comfortable for everybody at the time. But he did end up passing at home. So for
our friend Adam Bennett, he was having hospice care come to his house. He passed at home.
Yeah. It's rough, man. It really is. But I would choose that over going into a nursing home based on what I know of what they did to my grandmother, what they did to my great grandmother. They were actually horrible back in the 80s. So when my great grandmother passed back in 85, they treated her. Oh my God. She had bruises up and down her body. They were beating her up and everything else. So, I mean, it was just the way that, the times have changed. It's like, I would never, ever want my parents or myself for that matter in a nursing home based on the history that I know about them.
I don't want to be in one.
Hell no. Hell no.
My kids would probably be trying to put me in one. But I don't want to be in one.
The only place I want to go of at that point would be a country club.
Well,
they got good food and there's golf.
I'm as far as I know, I'm not of Viking descent. You might be with the red hair. There.
I mean, no, this is Italian right here.
Okay. But I'm not a Viking descent or anything, but if it came down to having to go in a nursing home, if I was not going to be able to stay at home, I would rather them just have me a Viking funeral, just put me on a boat, send that boat out,
and send you out on fire.
Set it on fire.
Get you drunk.
Yeah. Give me lots of rum or something and put me out. I definitely don't want to. I don't want to end up somewhere where there's somebody like this, because to hear about this happening, something like this happening once is scary, but it's happened a lot. There's been a lot of these things of elder abuse and killer nurses and killer doctors and shit over the years, and that's just scary, man. Those are the people you think are there to help people.
Yeah, supposed to be there to help.
It shouldn't happen. But all right, Brooklyn, we'll see you. We're actually coming to a close here. I think we pretty much said all we needed to say. Was there any other closing thoughts before we call it a night?
Stay away from the nursing homes.
Yeah.
Wear your seatbelt.
My God, don't throw cans on the road in Hot Springs, Arkansas.
And
don't throw anything at cops for that matter.
Respect each other.
Yeah.
A little bit of respect.
Yeah.
That I think a lot of things in our world would be better if we just respected each other. Yeah. Just something that simple,
Yep.
People, I just notice how people treat folks, right? Like I see how people talk to people at fast food places and talk to people in the checkout line somewhere. And, I always try to, I know it's going to come to a shock to all of you, but I'm a little bit of an asshole.
No, you.
What?
So
no way.
Yeah. So sometimes I have to actually make an effort to be polite and nice, because I mean I have bad days. I get moody, but when I go somewhere like, oh, Jamie, but when I go somewhere like Kroger, for example, right? There's this woman in there. She's got to be in her 60s. Sweetest lady, that works as a cashier at Kroger. When I'm not going through the self-checkout, I usually try to go to her line because she is so sweet. And I try to be polite to her, because you don't know how many people have talked shit to her that day. How many people didn't show her any respect or appreciation for what she's doing. And she knows how to bag my groceries. And I have this slight OCD, technically undiagnosed OCD stuff. But one of the things is when I put things on the checkout belt in a certain order on purpose, because that's how I want you to bag that shit. Because if I was bagging it, that's how I would bag it, right? Heavy stuff always goes first, because that needs to go in the basket first. I know Steve's probably thinking, God damn, you put that much thought into going to the grocery store?
Hey, no, you know what? I do the same thing.
I do the same thing.
I used to work at a grocery store, so.
Well, maybe I'm not quite as nuts as I thought I was.
Nope, you're not.
Normal things going on, or you just think you're OCD.
Yeah,
but you're really not. You're normal. So
maybe,
I mean,
yeah.
Bread and chips go on last.
Right.
Exactly. But okay, so let me ask you this. But when you buy something at the store, do you have to buy in even amounts? Like if you ran out of pancake syrup, are you buying one or are you buying two?
I'm buying two. I just went to the store the other day.
Holy fuck! Look at that.
Yeah.
Hey. Megan's the weird
now,
one because she's only going to buy the one.
If it's pop, I have to buy an even amount.
What's pop?
I can't buy an odd.
You got to cut out the
pop,
soda.
whatever.
Cut that soda out.
In the Midwest, we say pop.
Yeah.
I buy two.
Down here in the South, everything's a Coke, even if it's a Sprite.
That's true.
Yeah.
It's like, what kind of Coke do you want? Like, what? Coke. What kind? Coke. I want Coke. Yeah.
Well, I buy two for a reason, because once you use that first one up, you always got your second one to fall back on until you get back to the grocery store again.
That's okay. Then that's kind of my thought process, right? So my wife doesn't do that. Right?
Always one at a time.
She's gonna buy what she needs, right? So but she's also thankful for the way I buy things, because when she goes to run out of her favorite coffee creamer and she goes into the pantry there and she realizes, oh, my husband didn't buy just one. He's got a backup in the pantry.
He thought about me.
Yeah, and she knows to tell me when she opens that last one, it's time to buy two more.
Yep.
I do the same thing with her bottles of wine. So she's always got wine in the house too. So, if mama ain't happy, ain't nobody happy. So I make sure mama stays happy.
Happy wife,
I'll
happy
buy
life.
chorizo, for example, for when I make spaghetti. I'll buy 6 packets of chorizo. Got to be even. Got to be an even number.
Okay, well, I thought I was just weird. I like to do even numbers.
No. I just went over and I got some breakfast chorizo in the tubes. You mix that up in your eggs or whatever. I bought six tubes of that.
Okay.
Well, mainly because it was on sale for $1.99. And I'm not going to pass that up. So, but hey, I'm getting 6. I want an even number.
What they call it, guy math. We'll call it guy math.
Guy math.
Guy math.
Yeah, I was about to say it's either a guy thing or I'm just completely abnormal, which is totally
it's
fine.
It may be a guy thing. I don't know. Yeah. Maybe that's it.
For me, it's how much do I have in my bank account to spend, and I gotta be careful what I spend with it. So
yeah, and I mean that comes into play too. That comes into play on whether I'm going to buy 2 or whether I'm going to buy 4.
Yeah,
right.
Because I'm buying 2.
If it's soda, I'm buying a bunch of this
now,
shit so that I don't get headaches.
The only thing recently that I've been able to buy one of is a 40-pack case of bottled water. But there's still 40 in there. So it's still an even number.
Yeah.
Well,
but
get the 42 case.
Well, but my back has been pretty bad lately, so I don't want to have to carry but the one.
Right.
That's what that comes down to. So that's why that is. But I think I shared most of my thoughts as we were going along, so I don't really have anything to add here at the end. But I, like Jamie said, be nice to people. Show some respect. You never know what somebody's going through that day. You never know what the first 2 words you say to something is, which direction it's going to steer that conversation. You can either be a light in this world, or you can be a bit of the darkness. You get to decide which one.
Yep.
So be part of the light out there. I appreciate y'all joining me on the show, the 3 of you again. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. Megan, I hope your neck gets to feeling better.
Thanks.
Steve, I really hope these doctors get you fixed up, man. I know you're about tired of this bullshit.
It's been almost a year. So, I mean, I'll be going on a year right after the new year.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be a long recovery, and as long as they keep me out of work, I'll be happy.
Yeah.
So,
and Jamie, we don't want to tie you up anymore. Your daughter's home. I know you want to go visit.
She's only been gone for a few hours. I went and played putt. So.
Oh, okay.
Putt. We don't have putt anymore here.
Yeah.
They closed on my putt.
Oh, I hate to hear that.
I know.
All right. Well, I guess I'm horrible at it. I don't. I guess that's going to do it for us. We'll, God willing, and the creek don't rise. We'll see you back here next week. Now, I am going to be going out of town for Thanksgiving. So the Sunday of Thanksgiving, we probably won't have one. But that's the only one I know of right now. So appreciate it. Hope everybody has a great week, and I hope other people smile at you out there. I hope other people are starting to catch on and do the same thing I hope you're all doing and showing some respect out there. We'll see y'all later. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.
Good night, y'all.
I have a dream, that's all I need. I'll make it happen with some work and belief. Know what I want, so I'll take it on. I've made mistakes, but mistakes make you strong. Let's break it down for a minute. I want the crown, I'm gon' get it. You hear me loud, man, I'm winning. Yeah, Charlie Sheen will be grinning. These ladies know that I'm sinning, and this is just the beginning. I'm closing in the night inning. There ain't no point in resisting. Living life like a dream, live it right, that's the thing. Every night got a team, I've been tied to the scene. Out on stage, here I'm screaming. Okay.